What in tarnation is going on here? Find out right now on Wind Bears. We heard that if you soak gummy bears in water, that they grow. Well, we wanted to soak them in a couple other things and see what would happen too. So here's what we've got today. The first things that we tried were vinegar and some other things. The vinegar, we noticed, it did not cause the bears to expand at all. It did kind of make them look a little like jelly and kind of soak them off into the water a little bit. Now, we heard that if you soak them in salt, that they do tend to shrink a little bit. We didn't leave this one in for very long. We left it in for just 9 hours. That's how long we did the vinegar as well. And we did see some bubbles forming on the outside, and we did notice that it did not grow at all. So we thought that was a little bit interesting. We'll talk about that in a little bit. This third one, we soaked that one in distilled water, and we noticed that it also leaked into the water a little bit, but it did expand quite a bit. We'll show you some measurements in just a moment. And the last one that we did was in tap water, regular old San Francisco tap water. And that's got a little bit of chlorine, a little bit of fluoride, and some heavy metals in it. You know, just normal stuff that you find in city water. We did notice that one did tend to stay a little more intact inside, but it also did grow. So here you're going to see them still in the suspension. From left to right, we've got the vinegar and the salt, then the distilled water, and then the tap water. You can notice how they all kind of soaked a little bit differently. The vinegar and the salt ones didn't really grow very much, didn't grow at all, in fact. And the other two, although they did grow, we saw slightly different properties between them. See how the control bear is about 1.5 inches, which is the same as the salt and vinegar bears. We noticed that the distilled bear was a little soluble in the water, but that the tap water bear remained largely intact, although it did grow quite a bit. We were a little curious about those results. We wanted to see if we could get a bigger sample set, so we tried the salt and the freshwater ones over again, but this time at a shorter duration, so that we could see less disintegration in the bears, we hoped. So we ran the test where we stopped at 6 hours, took them out and measured them, and then we continued on for 5 more days, looking at the results and how much more growth we saw out of them bears. So here are those results. Let's take a look at them. So let's take measurements here. We've got about 1.5 inches for our control bear. That's expected. And our salt bear actually shrank just a little bit. See here, though, that both the distilled bears and the tap water bears did, in fact, grow quite a bit. We were really curious about those results between the difference between the salt and the freshwater bears, and also the difference between the two types of freshwater bears that we did. So we steeped them for 5 days. We watched them very closely. We took video every few hours and watched them as they continued to grow. And we were very impressed with how big they got. If you look here, you may notice that the salt bear stayed the same size, but the other ones got up to maybe 3 or 4 inches. It was a little difficult to measure them, though. You can see here, we've got the distilled water bear. This is quite large. We did try to pour that out and see if we could see how big that was, but unfortunately it was very difficult to get out of the container in the first place. And once we did, well, you see here, it just fell to pieces. It's actually quite interesting here how well the distilled water did break down those sugars in that bear. But it's still actually very quite intact, in spite of the fact it haven't been in there for almost a week. Next, we looked at the tap water bear. It is a little bit more intact than the other bear, even after 5 days. But it did also fall apart quite easily. You can see just as soon as we spilled it in there that the head still came off, and it did fall apart fairly easily. Not quite as easily as the other bear you can see here, but the tap water bear still did fall apart pretty well. Now here's the salt gummy, and notice that he's just about the same size as he was when we put him in there. A little bit smaller. His neck got kind of skinny, and now we'll pour that out and we'll show that bear to you. Now see how he's a little rough on the outside, and he's got that little gelatin kind of growth on him. Now that's where the salt has started to pull the moisture out of the bear, and is taking over all of the gummy business. You can see he's just kind of got that little, that's the solid gummy little bulb on the side of him, squishing right out. He was incredibly durable, kind of rubbery. See how my dad's pulling on him, and he's just not really coming apart very easy, stretching out. And one other thing that we wanted to show you, one of our friends wanted to know what would happen if we froze a bear in water. So we did. And here it is. We're going to pull that out of the tray there. We got a nice soft rubber tray, so it's going to be pretty easy to get her out of there. Now we're going to use our science and pliers to crack the ice open. See how my dad is grabbing the ice chunk and trying to put the pliers next to where the bear is. He's hoping he can just kind of chip it out of the ice that way. And it was a little slow going at first, but he was able to get it out of there with minimal mess. And we're using the Pyrex cake pan to catch the ice. You could also use your kitchen sink just as easily. And notice how once he got down into the bear, that he just started chipping off little pieces of the ice there, and slowly coaxed it out. Now, we were a little surprised to see that it had actually grown about 1/4 of an inch. That was about half as much as we expected that it would under just normal water circumstances in a 9-hour test, but it was still substantial in the time while the water was freezing. Now here, my dad's trying to pull that out of there, and you can see lots of it stayed in the ice. But when he tried to see what the bear was like, it was real sticky. It was kind of sloughing off a little bit, but it was very cold, and it was not given for anything. He's just wrenching on that, see that, and that head stayed right on. Here, once my dad gets his gloves on, we'll be able to see the frozen bear, once thawed, did still have a bit of jelliness to him. You can see he's still got a little bit of squish. But when we looked at him a little closer, we saw that his head was still very, very attached. And it was a little rubber bandy on the inside. You can see he's pulling. Very, very difficult to get him apart there. And this is even back up to room temperature. The outsides of the bear, as you can see, are very soft and crumble apart very much like oatmeal in your fingers. So you can see just how much of the moisture got pulled out of the gelatin, and how much it did break apart in the freezer. Hey everybody, Judas Bear Extraordinaire here. So that's what we did today with our wind bears. We would like to try some other things to put the bears into, some other types of stuff like oils and other things. If you would like to see something specific that we're going to put them in there, now be safe, of course, kids. Leave that down in the comments below, and we'll try that out. We're going to do a follow-up episode here. Probably in a few weeks or a couple months, where we will explain some of the magic and science behind what happened there, what you saw, as well as the science behind some of the stuff that we're going to see in some of the other stuff that we're going to put the bears into. In the meantime, just stay tuned for some of the more fun stuff that we got, and we will be with you again on another Tuesday for more When Bears. Thanks for watching, everybody. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot. If you like this video, click thumbs up. If you want to see more videos with me, Judas Bear Extraordinaire, subscribe to our channel. And if there's something else you'd like to see here on When Bears, or if you got any question for me, Judas Bear Extraordinaire, you can leave that down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to either respond to it in the comments or make a video about it. You know, you'll get an answer one way or the other. Thanks for watching, y'all, and stay tuned next time on When Bears. Cheers.